I got in the ring with Mike Tyson, and he turned to my uncle. He said, she can move.
Welcome to the Progressive Women's Leadership Podcast. Our mission is to advance the women's leadership movement in a way that is empowering, supportive, and bold. My name is Nicole Teon-Regal, and I will be your host. My guest today on the show is Jodi Portner Bracho. For the past 20 years, Jodi has been co-owner of Joro Fitness, a leading fitness and wellness training organization. Jodi has a third-degree black belt in martial arts and has been involved in the boxing world since the age of 12. She is proud to work with women who have been victims of violent crimes, teaching them how to defend themselves and enabling them with resources and strengths to move on. Jodi is also an entrepreneur and is gearing up for a new product launch for children called Tre Amigo. Welcome, Jodi. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Nicole. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. I'm excited to get started and to learn a few things from you. So first off, you've got a third-degree black belt. How did you get interested in martial arts, and tell us about the role it's played in shaping your career path?
Well, I started at a very young age. I was lucky to have a wonderful influence in my life, my uncle. My mother's younger brother. At the age of 12, I moved from Maryland to the Shore area, Shore being Atlantic City, Ventnor, Margate. Growing up, I was involved in sports. I was involved in swimming, horseback riding, ballet. After my parents' divorce, my mother decided she wanted to be back in the Shore area with her family. So we moved there, and I was like any other kid, it's a new area, you feel a little lost. My uncle took me under his wing and I loved it. He owned a karate club very close to our home, and I found that I was spending afternoons and evenings there. And, I'm 48, so that long ago, I was one of the only females really doing martial arts and really involved in it. And he taught me at a very young age, trained me just like a boy. I was hit just as hard as the other boys or men were hit. Sometimes have cracked ribs and bruises, but I got up and kept going. And of course, we had our battles and differences, but he just taught me so much about strength, endurance, and work ethics. I mean, he just was a hard worker, but he just communicated with his clientele and became friends with them, and he had this huge following. So he's been a major, major influence in me my entire life, really. He shaped my fitness world. I mean, he really did.
That's a great story. I love how he didn't treat you any differently just because you were a girl.
No, as a matter of fact, he was harder on me because I was a girl and because I was his niece. So it created sometimes a lot of battles.
That's good.
So I would say to him, why are you being so hard on me? I can take it, but really, do you have to do this? And he was like, yes, you're going to learn. You're going to do this. I want you to be the best that you can be. And he was great. But he really taught me what it was to respect people and their time. And, look, he was crazy. He was quirky. He was fun-loving. He's been gone now about a year and a half. And I remember thinking at his funeral, what a legacy, because it was probably one of the biggest funerals at the Shore. That he had just had it was standing room only. There was lines around the block for people to get in, because he just was so well respected and loved. If somebody was sick or wasn't there for a week in karate/boxing, because he taught me everything I know about boxing, he called them, he cared, he wrote notes. He didn't forget anybody's birthday. I mean, he really, really just cared about his clients and taught me that it wasn't about the money. It's about loving what you do. And I followed that.
So tell us about how that shaped the career that you've chosen.
I always knew growing up that I thought I'd wanted to be a teacher or I got into dental hygiene, maybe a dentist, but I've always been following the sports world, and I always trained people and taught people. Back then, though, there weren't a lot of certifications for trainers, so I started out going to school for psychology and education, later got into nutrition and exercise physiology. But I knew I couldn't do a desk job. It just wasn't me. I am high energy. I need to be with people. And I loved when I was training in the club, and whether it was training martial arts or working with police officers and the Coast Guard and writing programs for them, training programs and all different training programs. We could be at the beach 1 minute with the Coast Guard, and I could be in the gym another minute with a woman, training them and teaching them self-defense. I just knew that I wanted to really make a difference in someone's life. And, a gym setting can be, and even in the martial arts world, it can be very intimidating for people to come into that. And to know that you can make a difference in 5 minutes or 10 minutes to where they feel uncomfortable and they leave feeling good and they want to come back and see you again, it made me feel good. And I wanted to pursue that. And so I did. And, I pursued it at the Shore, and then moved to the Philadelphia area just like 20 years ago or more. And, since then, just built my business. I always, so one thing my uncle always said to me is surround yourself with positive people and people that you want to emulate. And that's what I did in the training world. That's what I've done in every aspect of my career. I love to learn from people. I don't mind if somebody's better than me. I actually love it because I can learn from them. And I became a better trainer because of that, and went on for more education and school. And so, that's where I am now. I love it. And I love helping other people become better trainers. I don't have the time or tolerance. I never did, for anybody that really doesn't want to do this or doesn't put 100% into it, because we are no different than, you've got good doctors and bad doctors, and good lawyers and bad lawyers, and you have great trainers and bad trainers. And you have to carry yourself the way you want your clientele to see you.
Great message. You're right. It doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you are putting your best foot forward. And as you said, surrounding yourself with really good people makes all the difference.
Yeah, it truly does. I mean, it definitely does. I have seen, young and old trainers, they come fresh out of school and they think it's old school. You train everybody the same way, and everybody wants to, leave feeling sore and being beaten up. And it's not the way to do it. And, your clientele's time is valuable. So if they're there, it's because they've taken time out of their day to show up and be there and get trained. So that means you need to be there on time, and you need to respect their time. And they don't want to hear about your problems. You need to listen to them. And I can tell you myself, I've been divorced. I've, been pregnant, had miscarriages. They don't want to hear that. They're there for positive things. So that's also, when I'm in the gym and I hear other trainers discussing their problems and issues, your clientele doesn't want to hear that.
Right.
You go to see your doctor or your lawyer, they're not discussing their problems they have. They want to know what you can do for them, just like my clientele. They want to know how I'm going to help them. And that's important to listen to them.
Right. One thing that that word I heard you say, you used the word respect. Talk about how important that is with your clients and your relationships with them.
It's incredibly important, because I think when you take on this career, like I said, you can be a good trainer or a bad trainer, and people are going to look up your credentials. They're going to see where you've trained, what certifications you are or you have. It really doesn't matter that you've graduated from college or not, but it does matter how you carry yourself. It does matter the certifications you have. I believe in really good certifications. And I believe in continuing your education so that you can sell your best self, because you do have to sell yourself. So I think that respect of your clientele's time is really important. I think that no matter where you work, whether I do training out of my home, I do training. We've been lucky enough to have our business out of the Aquatic and Fitness Center in Jenkintown. We have a wonderful rapport with them, and 80% of our clientele we see there. So you need to respect the gym atmosphere of where you're working. We wear a uniform that, yes, says our company, Joro Fitness, but we match to the colors of the gym that they ask us to wear, whether it's red and black. We show up on time. You respect, you just have to respect the time. I do give leniency. We have a 24-hour policy if you cancel your charge. But things happen. Life happens. So you can't be so stringent with that. Yes, you need to make a living, But you have to be flexible with your clientele, but they in turn have to respect you as
Right.
well. And realize you're not a Jiffy Lube. If somebody's running late or you're running 5 minutes late, things happen.
Right, right. Well said. So you've worked with many women as part of your fitness business. Tell us what it's been like working with victims of violent crimes and what motivates you to do this.
It's funny. I guess maybe 12 years ago, it's about 12 or 13 years ago, I was training a therapist who works with a lot of rape victims. And it's not just women that are victims of violent crimes, men can be as well. So she happens to work with a lot of rape victims. And she asked me if I would be willing, since I was big into boxing and training women hit the bag. I mean, women that would never even think of putting boxing gloves on, who have never hit anything. She asked me, because she really felt that it could help them and change their lives. And I said, of course, with her there, of course, because it's emotional. It can, you want someone to focus. You want them to hit the bag right. You want to teach them the correct way to do it. But you have to have trigger spots to help them get it all out and help them realize that it is okay. If somebody does come at you, you are going to learn to defend yourself, and you are going to get that anger and that hostility, and everything you're feeling comes out on the bag or when you're hitting something. And, sometimes these women, still to this day, I mean, they really break down, or they can't even believe that they've accomplished what they've accomplished hitting the bag, or they just feel this sense of, it sounds crazy, this sense of empowerment, this sense of strength hitting the bag, that they know if they are ever in any situation again, they could handle it. And that's huge. I mean, that's huge for any woman, any man, anybody. But to take a woman that has been so victimized, whether it's rape or in a marriage or in a relationship, and beaten down, whether it's verbally or physically, to the point that they feel that they can't muster up strength enough to defend themselves or fight back, that bag really gives them the strength to just fight. And it does. It makes them feel just so secure in their being that they can do it. So it's been a great experience.
That's wonderful. Probably not something you thought you'd be doing when you got into this business initially.
No, I always knew. It's funny. I loved boxing, but I thought, reality of this, a little white Jewish girl that's going to go into boxing, it's not going to happen. And I broke my nose twice. I've been injured a lot. And I remember when Mike Tyson started out in the boxing world, if anybody listening knows Mike Tyson, of course, he was a great guy. His original trainer was Kevin Rooney, and they used to come down the shore and train in my uncle's boxing gym on Fridays or the weekends. We'd close it down, and my uncle would do this crazy stuff called Midnight Madness, and myself and a bunch of other black belts would be there. And I think at the time I was maybe 18 to 21, somewhere around that age. And I got in the ring with Mike Tyson, and he turned to my uncle. He said, she can move. She's got some great power and strength, and she should be boxing. And I'm like, he's got to be kidding me. And from there, I really got into it and loved it. And, women started to really love it. So it's nice for me to see that so many women are into it. I don't do it anymore where it's full contact. I only do it on the bag. I definitely don't want to be hurt anymore at this point in my life. And I don't want anyone else to be hurt. I want them to, to get a great workout and still feel confident while hitting the bag. But no, I didn't realize my career would evolve so much into all of this, but it's really been incredible. It's been incredible helping and changing so many lives.
So, you've been a successful business owner for about 20 years at this point in time. As we know, with any business, you need to have new clients and you also need to maintain your existing clients. Can you talk about the balance between that and what you may have learned from your clients?
I think there's a lot I've learned. I think, my clients now, and most of them, believe it or not, Nicole, have been with me for 20 years, whether it's training once a week or 3 times or twice a week. They've become my family. And you become so close to them because you really get to know every aspect of their life. You're invited to things that they have and events. And I've learned a lot from them, and I've grown with them. They've seen me in my life go through a lot of different changes and have really been there for me. And I think the most touching part for me was when we adopted our daughter, our baby girl. I had a baby naming in our home, and we invited, pretty much 90 of our clientele, and they came. They all showed up. Not one cancellation. I mean, they were all here to support us and to love us. And when we adopted her, just the love that was pouring into our gym and the gifts and balloons and flowers that I had in our home, I couldn't even keep up with it. To know that you have that kind of genuine relationship and love in your life by people that are not even your family. And of course, sometimes they say those that are not your family can be better. It's been an incredible experience for us. We have a lot of love in our life, and a lot of people that have helped us and been there, and I've helped them. So it's been very rewarding. I've had my battles, I've had differences. I touched on this a while ago when I adopted our daughter. It was a big change for me. My career has always been first, and even before my husband. I was a workaholic, would work 6-7 days a week, all hours of the day and night, would never say no to a client if they wanted 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And now I have this, beautiful baby girl, and my life just changed dramatically. It's still, I needed to, of course, maintain making a living and supporting her and our life. But I quickly found out that there was no way in hell I could keep a 7 o'clock or an 8 o'clock client. That was like a fantasy world that I was having, and just absolutely not reality at all. And I did try that like a fool in the first 2 months, trying to maintain an 8 o'clock client. And I remember my daughter being sick. She has severe allergies, and she was sick, and the doctor said, if you can't get here first thing in the morning, just come at 12. And I said, oh, that's great. I'd spoken to the doctor at 6:30 in the morning, and I had the sitter coming. So I thought, okay, it's fine. I'll take the baby at 12. I'll run to the gym. I'll see my 8, 9, and 10 and get back home. I got to the gym, and, I was very unnerved because the baby had been up all night, and I was torn. Did I do the right thing? And I got into the gym, and my client was waiting for me. I was to see her at 8, and it was just about 5 after 8. And I'll never forget. And she was a long time. She had been with me for 12 years. And she looked at her watch and she said,
wow,
I would prefer you be 5 minutes early, not 5 minutes late. I realize you're a mother, but guess what? Babies are colicky, babies are up all night. You need to be, my time is valuable. She wasn't wrong. She really wasn't. She was wrong in her approach and how she spoke to me. And I did. I filled up for the first time ever on the floor, filled up with tears and said, we're done. You're absolutely right. I do value your time, but I left a sick baby at home. Big mistake and really a good life lesson and learning lesson. I said, we're done. I will find you another trainer that can accommodate the time that you want. And she said to me, no, Jodi, please. And I said, I can't accommodate your time. And my husband, who's also a trainer and like I said, owns this business with me, he did not have that time in his schedule to see her. And we have maintained being great friends. She sent me a beautiful email. I handled it afterwards by thanking her for her years of business. She came to my baby naming after. I think I've never ended anything badly. So I think it's always in how you handle something and carry yourself. And I truly believe that's what's held up my reputation. Nobody can ever say I have ever been unprofessional. I have never carried myself well. Even when I've had negotiations in the gym or things have gone sour, they can never say I'm unprofessional or I handle myself in an unprofessional way. And that means a lot to me in my career. And it meant a lot to me to maintain my face with this client. She wasn't wrong. Her time is valuable. I was wrong. I needed to make adjustments in my life. I needed to realize that what I was doing was not reality and I was fooling myself. So I have since changed my schedule. Like I went at 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Or like on Fridays, I work from home. Or on Tuesday when my daughter's a cookie day, I'm in school all day. So, that's the reality. Things have to change. And that was very hard for me.
As you said, that was a situation with this client where it was the first time you cried on the gym floor. It was the first time you probably reacted in a quick way like that. But it really sounds like you were maintaining your values and what was important to you. And in some ways, I suppose it was a wake-up call for you as well.
Absolutely. And I think that is definitely, what my uncle taught me. I'll say this too, my parents and my stepmother, the work ethics in my family, that's always been a priority. With our education, school, college, everything in our lives, our work, how we carry ourselves, that has always held true with my family. And that has definitely served me well, those lessons. And I hope, I will definitely teach my daughter that. I think that's extremely important in life, and you don't sell yourself to the devil either. Like I have always held true to my values. I've never done anything that I didn't want to do. Whether it meant I lose a lot of money or not, I didn't care. I won't do anything that I don't want to do.
So how has your life changed in other ways since deciding to become a mother?
Oh my gosh, so much. I would never take off from work before for anything or cancel clients. I think I would have worked around everything before or made it work. And now if I hear that there's something at my daughter's school, in her little preschool, she'll be 3 in April. I take off. I'm there. Like I said, she has severe allergies, so I make all her food fresh. It's changed dramatically. I mean, she is my number one priority, and I think my focus has shifted. Everything I do now, I do for her. My future, my business, where my next business is taking me. Everything is about her and her world and her life, and teaching her. I like that she loves to be a part of my training when I have clients in our home. She does little squats on the wall. She tells her friends at school, okay, line up, let's do squats. Or, she shows them how she rolls on the ball, and she loves it. Or she'll say to me, Mommy, I'm going to train your clients today. I was like, okay. So I like that we're teaching her some positive things. I said to my husband, if I was going to train at home and cut down the business at the gym, which I did dramatically, then I needed to be closer at home. Our gym is a half hour from home. So, and her school's 5 minutes from here. So I wanted to be around her schedule and her time. So that's been another big change. I work around her schedule. We make sure that she's never left with a sitter when I have a client. If I have a client home here, I work around my husband's schedule. He's here, and he's just been an incredible support system with everything I've done. So he's, he watches her. He's an incredible dad. So, he's here when I have clients, and we work it out. So it's been a lot of adjustments on both ends. We're both also neat freaks, a little OCD. So kind of lost that a little bit when you have a baby. So, I mean, you definitely can't keep up with a lot of that. I think that's been a bigger adjustment for him. Me, I'm just like, give it up.
Right.
So.
Yes. You talked a little bit about your husband being part of your support system. So he's a partner in your business and in your personal life as well. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. Everybody says to me, my gosh, how do you work with your husband? And how does that happen? Well, it happens because the gym is huge. And actually, I met him at the gym. He had his own business there, and then we just merged. But it's funny, I met him because, and just fell in love with him right away because I respected him so much as a trainer and as a human being. I mean, he's from Venezuela. He's been here now 25 years and worked his way, in Venezuela, had his master's degree and came here and started over, taking English as a second language, becoming a trainer, and is the top trainer at our gym, and is just a phenomenal trainer. And is continuing learning and teaching everybody. So I think, we work well together. We complement each other. I mean, I am definitely the louder one, the one that's more outgoing, and he's the calm in my storm. So it's good. Or he'll say to me, take a couple steps back, or think about that a little more, what you want to do. So we definitely feed off of each other, and it's been great. And we don't see each other either. I mean, we're at the gym, and he's focused on his clients, and I'm focused on my clients. And, we don't pass messages back and forth between clientele. They know to just call our cell phones or call our business, and that's how they get a hold of us. So that works well too. I mean, and he knows my schedule at home. He knows when he needs to be home, and I have clients, and we have set days that he'll pick up our daughter. So that I can have Thursdays and Fridays where I just see clients or do what I need to do. So it definitely, I think the biggest adjustment, honestly, was having a baby, having a child. It just, it throws your world for a wonderful loop, but very stressful. It was a very stressful first 6 months in our lives. So it was a lot of change for us, but it's worked, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to us. And from that, we have a new company that's starting, so it's even better.
Great segue. So, recently your work, professional life, and your child came together. So, tell us a little bit about that new phase of your life.
Yeah. Well, I remember, my daughter was in the high chair. It's hard whether you're a working parent or mom or a stay-at-home mom. No matter what, it's hard to try and get everything done. And, my gosh, God bless the moms that are, or the dads that are home full time. Because that in itself is definitely the hardest job in the world. No kidding there. And I would find myself when I was home with her, just trying to get everything done, but yet trying to make her happy. And she always wanted to be with me. And I would find that when she was in the high chair next to me, everything was going off the high chair. So every 2 minutes, I'm bending, picking up the sippy cup or picking up food or picking up a toy that she threw or her book. And I thought, there's got to be a product out there that can keep things on the darn tray. Nothing. I didn't want those mats that are at the bottom to catch stuff. I wanted to prevent it from going on the floor. So I did like a little dummy thing. I set up, I took a cardboard box and suctions and rods and made it and stuck it to her tray, and it worked. And then, as it so happens, I was talking to one of my clients one day, Valerie Stone, who is a very dear friend of mine, and is now, she and her husband Jeff have become our partners. I talked to her. She was into Shark Tank, and she said to me, "Come on, Jodi, you always have great ideas. Like, come on, what's in that head of yours?" And I said, "So funny you're saying that." I said, I do. I just don't know how to take it to the next level. So I told her about it, and she said, "Oh my gosh, let me talk to my husband. I want to make this happen." And God bless her, she did. They have invested in this 100% with me. They've backed me. They supported me. They've helped me do the prototype and make it. We're getting manufactured right now in China as we speak. The company's called Tray Amigo. The nice thing about it, though, Nicole, is it fills a need. There's a need for it, not just on high chairs, but it can go around any tray, a tray around a car seat. So when my daughter's coloring in her car seat in the car, the crayons aren't falling off everywhere. She can have her snack and it's not being dumped all over the floor or my car. It can go on a toddler seat. But the nicest thing I have to say is we have found that it can go around a pediatric high chair and an adult, a wheelchair, a pediatric wheelchair and a senior wheelchair tray. So we just thought, now, why not take it to the next level and see if we can do this with wheelchairs? And I happened to be watching a commercial for Shriners Hospital one day and saw a child in a wheelchair, and they had a little tray, and I thought, oh my gosh, this can happen. And so we tried it on wheelchairs, and my stepmother said to me what an incredible thing it would have been to have this for my grandmother, for her mother around, when her things would fall off the tray. And if they had this, if they had Tray Amigo, which is it looks like a little mini playpen, that can roll right up in a tiny package and unroll and buckle in the back, wraps right around the tray and buckles in the back of anything. And it would have been really wonderful for her. She wouldn't have been dropping her cups or spilling things. And so that's what we're hoping, that we're going to donate it to a few hospitals. And also we're about to go into the big ABC Baby Expo in May. That's going to be May 14th and 15th in New York. So Tray Amigo will be taking off. That's our next venture soon. Without giving up what I truly love, which is my personal training.
That's really exciting. At this point in time, you're looking to balance something new in your life as well.
Yeah, I am. I have always, I guess that's what it is about me. I have always been that type of person to look for not the next thing, but the next thing to whether build or change my career. Like even with personal training, I was in personal training, and then I started working with the victims of violent crime. Then I started the boxing program at AFC, and then I started my training at home and boot camps at home. So I am always looking for like the next little adventure as long as I love it. And as long as I can make or do like this, I don't do anything halfway. I want it to be an excellent product. I want it to help people. I want there to be great feedback about it and, make a difference. So I'm hoping that this will be the next thing that can make a difference for a lot of parents, and without, like I said, giving up what I truly love. And I do love what I do.
Many women listening to this podcast may have ideas as well. What advice do you have for them to act upon those ideas like you have with your idea for Tre Amigo?
My advice is simply don't let anything stop you. Find the right people. If you need the help, find the right people to get the help. I think I've had the right people in my life, because there are people that are successful in life and they're not liked. And, a lot of women get these reputations, unfortunately, of being a bitch because they really are. They're not nice to people around them. They're not nice to their employees. So why would you want someone like that in your life, and why would you want to work for them, and why would you even do anything for them? I found that, people do for me because I'll do for them, and we have a nice connection. And I think that's the biggest advice I can give to women is if you have something that you want to do or you want to follow your dreams and do it. And don't let anything stop you, but do it the right way and do it the nice way. And, really just connect with people and it'll happen. It's happening for me, and I'm really blessed to have great people in my life.
So what advice would you give to your 30-year-old self, looking back a few years from where you are today?
Oh, God, so much. I laugh. Yeah, so much because I laugh because I've always been great in like my business world and things like that. It's the personal life that I was like, oh, why did you do that? Why did you make that mistake? Or why did you date that person? Those kind of things. But I think just in business with my 30-year-old self, I going back, I wouldn't change anything in business that I've done. Everything's been a really wonderful learning experience, and you have to make some mistakes to learn from them. And I think even with, whether it be contract negotiations or anything like that, I've just to tell my 30-year-old self the same thing I would tell my daughter: watch how you handle yourself, watch how you talk to people, carry yourself in a professional way. And that's always what has stuck in my head and always what I've told myself. And maybe take it down a notch. I get excited about things and I want to go full barrel ahead. And I've definitely learned with age to calm that down and tone it down a bit. So, maybe go a little slower with things.
Okay. Very good advice. I like what you said. You're right. It's the mistakes that you make and what you learn from them is really what continues to shape how you develop over time. And you said that very nicely. I'm a firm believer in that. Well, Jodi, this has been wonderful. I want to thank you for your time and for sharing your wisdom and for helping to advance the women's leadership movement. On behalf of Progressive Women's Leadership, I'm signing off, and I hope that everyone has a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to our podcast and helping us to advance the women's leadership movement. For more engaging content like this, please go to progressivewomensleadership.com. Follow us on social media, including Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Have a topic you would like us to cover? Connect with us, as we love hearing from our listeners.